to Music with Purpose. I'm Robbie. I'll be your host. I'd like to introduce Corey Michael Reiman.
There is no justification to overwork yourself on down the road. I've spent so many hours in contemplation as to what the future will hold. I've got my reasons for believing. Don't use the seasons to measure what you're achieving. You're not stupid, you're not lazy, you're not a waste of space and air. You're not dumb, you're not crazy, you just see another way to get there. But don't panic, you're okay. You're gonna make it, it's another day. Not following the beaten path. You know the grass is just a little bit greener on a road that's not on the map. Don't melt the frost, it turns into a stream. There is no poison that can kill your strongest dreams.
Well, Corey, thank you for that tune.
No problem, no problem.
And
Thank you
I'm
for
going to
having
ask
me.
you to do some more later. But right now, I'd just like to talk to you about, you're a young guy, but you started a band in high school.
Yes, sir.
You named it CRB?
Yes, the CRB.
Okay. Obviously, the
Corey Reiman Band.
Corey Reiman Band. And,
Though there was a while where we weren't going. We just went with we mainly went with the letters, or I went with the letters for a while, because whenever we had a bad gig, when it's the Corey Reiman Band, it's Corey Reiman who gets blamed, even if it's a bad, the bass player's off or the guitar's out of tune. It's Corey Reiman who got blamed.
Absolutely.
Like, we need to get rid of this. We need to do this. And so the CRB was the actual name of the band without the abbreviation for 4-5 years, I think, just about.
Okay, and from what I see in your videos, you were playing a lot of covers in the beginning. Obviously, most bands do.
Yes, sir.
But the covers you chose, Rolling Stones, Allman Brothers, other classic rocks. I want to ask you, whose record collection were you rifling?
My mother's and my father's.
Okay.
So, and then a lot of it, I would say I got on my own. My mother was into Clapton, the Kinks, the Stones. My father was into Genesis and Yes and Foreigner. So I got these two very broad, different ends of the spectrum. But then on
Foreigner tries to rock.
I started off as just a singer, and Lou Gramm is one of the most killer singers, and Mick Jones on guitar. Oh my God, what a band! But yeah, so I got this early entry into what a lot of my friends will call dab rock, and then also prog rock on the other end, and then on my own I got myself into the Beatles, Lou Reed, the Velvet Underground, Iggy Pop. David Bowie was huge for me. In high school, I survived on Bowie records. That was when the first, and then above most of them, there was Bruce Springsteen. I remember the first time I saw a video of Bruce Springsteen on YouTube. I think I must have been 10 years old. And it's 1978, the Darkness on the Edge of Town tour in Phoenix, Arizona. They're doing the song Rosalita. Bruce is in this black suit with his butterscotch blonde Telecaster. And he's out on the front of the stage. He's running around. He's back and forth. He's going there. He's proclaiming the gospel of Bruce Springsteen to this audience. There are women jumping on the stage. He's jumping on and off the piano. And it was at that moment that I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Okay, so at 10 years old.
10 years old, I saw Bruce Springsteen, and the future changed for me.
Well, there you go. I've seen several shows on that tour, and I can understand what you mean, because it was a real rock and roll gospel for sure.
Oh yeah, it's the first time the E Street Band was in full form.
But your original songs also hearken to that you've appreciated some of the grunge era, the louder softness of like the Pixies or Nirvana. You go from loud to soft, so that you must have absorbed all along the way some of the more modern stuff too, so that you have the classic rock background and the stuff that your classmates were maybe listening.
Yeah, my music was kind of with my music there definitely was a journey, and I guess it goes to a degree chronologically, because my early bands, the Stones, the Beatles, Eric Clapton, Bruce Springsteen. And then I found, you take a step back for a second and you go back, what are they listening to? They're listening to Howlin' Wolf. They're listening to Woody Guthrie and Pete Seeger. And you go from there, and then you push forward in these different angles. And now a lot of the stuff I'm listening to artists like Mac DeMarco, Kurt Vile and the Violators. These guys who are really cool artists. Also, by the end of high school and into college, I really, really, really got into the Grateful Dead and John Mayer.
So your band ran for about 5 years.
Yeah, it was a good 5 years, I would definitely say.
And then you broke up that band. It was all high school friends, I'm going to assume. Is anybody still with you today?
I will occasionally play with some of the guys who were in and out of that band. It was a revolving door at times. There were some familiar faces that came in and out all the time, and I'll still play with them occasionally. We'll do some live shows every once in a while, but for the most part, I've got new guys like Fresno Slim over there. He's phenomenal.
Your bio on your Facebook page also mentions members of Toto and other bands. So I'm going to put you on the spot now, and I'm going to ask you about that.
So when the Dilemma first started, about a year and a half ago, I was playing with some pretty cool dudes, one of which was Danny Ryler. Now, Danny Ryler is one of the greatest guns for hire I have ever met. His voice is phenomenal. His guitar playing is greater than most men you will ever see. And his knowledge on chords, chord changes, and every pop song from 1960 until probably 1994, he knows just about everything. And the guys that he's played with, be it Toto, Linda Ronstadt, all the members of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, he knew these guys. He hung out with these guys in L.A. These were his friends and his buddies, and I got so much insight out of guys like Danny, guys like Con Doty, who saw things that I never got to see, and for me to be able to continue something that they were doing, as you put it, this lost art of rock and roll kind of, if I could do anything within my power to keep it going, it's, again, in similar fashion to some of my favorite artists like Mac DeMarco, My Morning Jacket, these new guys. I worked with it. I play with guys. I don't care how old a person is to play with me. You have to have the heart, the soul, and the talent to do it. Because, yeah, I've played with guys, like older guys like Danny, and then also the other night at Toad's place, we were playing with Dan Shea and Rafe Kimball. They're in a band called The Incidents. They're in high school. They are sophomores.
Okay, so they're playing in your band now.
Yeah, we play with them sometimes, not all the time. And the cool thing with the Dilemma, we have friends.
Okay, but let's go back just a little bit, because after the band broke up and you started revisiting some lyrics and everything else, you had a major set back in your life. You got ill.
Yes.
Okay, so you have spoken about that online. I've seen a video, and you have a syndrome called Marfan syndrome.
Yes, sir. So
Okay. So is it part of your lung got cut off? How did that make you think about your singing? Because you sang that first song, you're still singing.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it had to be a psychological barrier that you got over.
Oh, and it's a barrier I'm still dealing with every single day. You have, in psychology, they talk about rational fears versus irrational fears. A rational fear, or an irrational fear, you made a left turn one time, you got hit by a car, and you never want to make a left turn again. That's an irrational fear. Irrational fear being, I can't see what's inside of my chest, and it's now collapsed on me twice. What's going on? And there are those times that I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes with the cold sweats, and I have the flashbacks and the nightmares about the hospital, but you just kind of got to keep going with it. There's not really anything I can do about it.
So out of that illness came the song that you sang before Cold Rain.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful video on the internet, and
My friend Liam Nelson.
And now you're working on a new record. Okay, and you're playing benefits about the Marfan syndrome. And so what are you going to do now to both promote your music, keep yourself healthy, and push out the awareness of this disease for other people, and let people know that it happens?
So as far as I'm concerned, borrowed time is kind of has a negative connotation. But I've gotten, well, really both times I was in the hospital, I almost died when I first got in there, because I was apparently a few hours away from, instead of being in like the 10th floor in the cardiac wing, I was probably a few hours from being in the basement in the morgue. So I have this opportunity that a lot of people don't get. I got to live. And I think that I owe my life to helping other people, be it for causes like that benefit me, like Marfan syndrome or other things. My life, I feel like, is doing something. I'd like to be able to do my own music and do all that for myself, but if I can, more importantly, use that music to help other people, be it whatever their hardship or their strife is, I would like to be able to use that to effectively, do something better for the world. There's a lot of things and people who might not be so nice out there right now, and I'm not going to let that bother me. I'm going to try to make the best of what I have, the best of this life that I'm blessed to have, that I almost didn't have, and just keep going forward.
So you're taking the bull by the horns, and that's a good thing. And now, when's this record going to come out?
Now, I'm trying to aim for the early spring. I'd like it there, but I'm not going to put out material that's half finished. I'm not going to put out something that, unless I'm fully proud of it and fully ready with how it sounds, I'm not going to put it out. And I think most people are going to appreciate hearing that, as opposed to having a half-assed record delivered to them via whatever medium they're listening on.
So you're going to put it out in vinyl?
I'm really trying.
I'm
trying and hoping.
I could tell.
There will be at least, I'm hoping, a few 45 singles.
Well, I tell you what. Why don't you see if you can get your guitar player up here and play a couple more tunes that might appear on that next record. Can you do that for me?
I certainly can.
Well, thanks a lot for talking with me tonight.
No problem.
All right, rock and roll.
Thank you so much.
can see your breath in the autumn air tonight. I'm standing awestruck in your grace. Don't mind the hair standing on my neck. Oh, frozen fever's what I have, and I wouldn't mind freezing to death in the name of you. In the name of you. And I'd give you all I could, and I'd do all I could, and I'd make all I could in the name of you. And I'd change myself if you wanted me to, but I know you never would, but I would if I could, 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 in the name of you. In the name in the name of you. It's the day so goes the pain. I let it drip away in the ice cold rain. So drip away the pain in the ice cold rain. Body stiff as stone. Your mind finds ways to roam. The beating in your vein is the ice cold rain. So drip away the pain in the ice cold rain. the stain. The beating on the pain is the ice cold rain. Like Samson and Delilah, she went and cut his hair and left him weak and helpless, and his head was cold and bare. So I kinda feel like Samson, because I lost my thing, the crutch that kept me up, the floating in my sink. My head is feeling chilly. Delilah made her cut, the thing that helped my feelings gone. Now there's no step in my strut, and I'm an empty person. I'm a drunk without a drink, a junkie with no needle, a wise man who can't think. So take a look around me. I'm a dirty, worthless rat. My allies all abandoned me. I was blinded as I sat, and I'm chained here just like Samson. The pillars on my arms, the buildings tumbling over me, because I caused myself such harm. And I'm chained here just like Samson, feeling just like Samson, feeling just like Samson, feeling just like Samson. All right. Thank you guys so very, very much. It's always a hoot. Thank you so much.
And thanks for tuning in. Music with Purpose. Once again, give it up, Corey Michael Reiman.